Stop everything you're doing and listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to share in the next few minutes could mean the difference between continuing to build your life on sinking sand, or finally establishing a foundation that nothing and no one can shake. While most people chase after magic formulas for success, secret strategies to get rich, or revolutionary techniques to be happy, there's a truth they're completely ignoring, and that ignorance is costing them dearly. Have you ever noticed how seemingly successful people, with money, fame, and recognition, still live completely empty and desperate lives? Have you realized that the more humanity evolves technologically, the more anxious, depressed, and lost it becomes? That's no coincidence. There is a divine order to things, a spiritual hierarchy that, when ignored, causes everything to collapse like a house of cards. And let me be brutally honest with you, if God is not first in your life, you are building your future on a foundation that's destined to crumble. It might even work for a while, you might get money, relationships, professional success, but it's only a matter of time before cracks start to show. Because here's the truth no one wants to say, without a solid spiritual foundation, everything else is just a temporary illusion. Now, before you start thinking, here comes another religious speech, let me make something clear. I'm not here to convert you to any religion or ask you to give up your material goals. I'm here to show you that putting God first is actually the smartest, most practical, and most effective strategy to succeed in every area of your life at the same time. It's like discovering a secret shortcut that takes you faster and more safely to your destination, while everyone else is stuck in traffic on the main road. What you're about to discover today goes against everything you've been taught about prosperity and personal fulfillment. It will challenge your beliefs about what truly works when building an extraordinary life. And it will give you access to a power that 99% of people don't even dream exists. Because when you put God first, you're not just following a moral principle, you're aligning with the laws that govern the universe, you're accessing infinite intelligence, you're partnering with the most powerful force there is. Imagine for a moment that you're building the house of your dreams. You invest thousands, hire the best professionals, choose the most expensive finishes, but forget to lay a solid foundation. What happens? In no time, cracks start to appear, the walls begin to lean, and eventually, everything collapses. That's exactly what happens to our lives when we don't put God first, we build on quicksand. Your finances might be doing well today, your relationships may seem stable, your health might be in check, but without a solid spiritual foundation, it's only a matter of time before something starts to fall apart. Spirituality is not a luxury or a plus in life, it is the foundation that holds everything else together. Now, you might be thinking, but I know people who aren't religious and still succeed. Yes, they exist, but look closely. How many of them truly have inner peace? How many aren't living in constant anxiety, always worried about keeping what they've achieved? The difference between a life aligned with God and a life without that foundation is like the difference between a deeply rooted tree and a potted plant on a windowsill. A storm can knock down both, but which one do you think has a better chance of surviving? When your faith is strong, when you put God first, you develop a resilience that goes beyond human understanding. It's like having an invisible security system that protects not only your material possessions but your mental and emotional peace. Let's be practical for a moment. When you wake up in the morning, what's your first thought? Is it about the bills to pay, the problems at work, the arguments at home? Or is it a connection to something greater, a moment of gratitude, a search for divine direction? That small difference shapes the entire course of your day. A person who begins their day seeking God's presence sees challenges through a completely different lens. It's not that they don't face problems, they simply have an infinitely more powerful companion walking beside them. It's like having a spiritual GPS that guides you through the safest routes, even when the road ahead looks confusing. Without God's direction, you're navigating life using only your limited intelligence and your restricted experience. Maybe you've already experienced this kind of collapse in some area of your life. How many times have you worked hard for something, achieved it, and then felt empty? Or followed all the right plans and advice, only to have things still fall apart? That happens because there's a divine order to everything, a higher purpose our limited minds can't always comprehend. When we put God first, we're not just following a religious rule, we're aligning with the laws that govern the universe. It's like swimming with the current instead of against it. Your transformation begins the moment you recognize the need for that solid base, the need for that divine connection to support everything else in your life. And here's the interesting part: many people only realize the importance of that foundation when it's missing. It's common to see successful entrepreneurs go through spiritual crises at the peak of their careers. They have money, recognition, even family, but still feel an overwhelming emptiness, a spiritual urgency no material achievement can satisfy. It's as if the soul is shouting, "Hey, you forgot about me." That's divine wisdom at work. It makes us uncomfortable when we're headed in the wrong direction. It causes that unexplainable restlessness inside. When you experience it, it's not punishment, it's a call to reconnect with the divine. It's God inviting you into a fuller life, a life more aligned with your true purpose. Here's a truth few truly understand: putting God first doesn't mean abandoning your material goals or becoming passive. On the contrary, it means having the most powerful partner in the universe working on your behalf. Imagine having access to infinite intelligence, unconditional love, a force that can literally move mountains. That's not fantasy, that's what happens when you build your life on that solid foundation. Your decisions become clearer, opportunities multiply, relationships deepen. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's like tuning a musical instrument. When it's in tune, every note sounds harmonious. And when your life is tuned to God, even challenges become opportunities for growth. And that harmony, it directly affects how clearly you can hear that gentle voice many call intuition. Have you ever had that feeling that you should, or shouldn't, do something, but you couldn't explain why? That sixth sense that warned you about a person or situation before you had any concrete evidence? That's not a coincidence or paranoia, it's the gentle voice of God whispering direction into your life. When you put God first, that divine communication becomes clearer, more frequent, and more reliable. It's like tuning into a radio station that's always been broadcasting, but you just didn't know how to access it. That intuition is literally a divine message reaching you, offering guidance for the most important decisions in your life. Many people ignore these signals because they've been conditioned to trust only logic, but true wisdom comes from the union of reason and spirituality. Think about how many times you've regretted not following your first instinct about something. Maybe it was that investment that seemed too good to be true, and it was. Or that person you met and something inside you said, "Be careful," but you dismissed it. That kind of discernment doesn't come from experience or technical knowledge, it comes from a deeper connection to universal wisdom. When your faith is active, when your life is aligned with divine principles, you develop the ability to see beyond the obvious. It's like having spiritual X-ray vision, seeing through appearances and discerning true intentions, real potential, hidden dangers. That spiritual clarity is one of the most valuable gifts we can have, and it's available to anyone willing to cultivate that connection. Now let me be practical with you. How can you begin to develop this sensitivity to God's guidance? Start by creating moments of silence in your daily routine. It doesn't have to be a formal 1-hour meditation. It can be just 5 minutes in the morning or before bed, where you pause and connect with the divine presence. During those moments, ask specific questions. What do I need to know about this situation? Which path should I follow? Is this person trustworthy? Then, pay attention to the answers, not necessarily in words, but in sensations, insights, even dreams. Often, the answer shows up as a deep inner knowing, a peace you feel when thinking about one option, or a persistent discomfort when considering another. That is God's language, speaking directly to your soul. What amazes me most is how this divine communication manifests uniquely for each person. Some receive insights through vivid dreams. Others notice repeated coincidences. Some hear a quiet inner voice that grows stronger over time. I once met a businessman who always knew when to buy or sell stocks because he'd feel a specific stirring in his chest, and he never missed. I knew a mother who always sensed when something was wrong with her children, even from far away. She'd feel an inner urgency that led her to call at the exact right moment. This isn't superstition, it's divine connection in action. When you develop that sensitivity, you don't have to guess anymore, you just know. It's like having a personal advisor who sees the behind the scenes of your life and guides you with absolute precision. But here's a secret most people miss: that intuitive voice doesn't work well when you're in inner chaos, when your mind is noisy with anxiety, anger, or fear. It's like trying to hear a soft melody in the middle of a loud party. Impossible. That's why emotional balance is essential to access divine guidance. When you're centered, when your faith is strong, when you practice gratitude and keep your thoughts elevated, you create the perfect environment to receive that communication. That's why truly wise people always seem calm and confident. They're not just pretending to be serene, they actually have access to a source of guidance that gives them that certainty. They know they're not navigating life alone, they have a divine co-pilot who knows every shortcut and avoids every trap. And here's the most amazing part: the more you trust and follow that divine guidance, the more accurate it becomes. It's like a muscle that gets stronger with use. Start with small decisions: which route to take to work, what to wear, which friend to call. Pay attention to the results. You'll notice that when you follow your intuition, things flow more smoothly, coincidences increase, opportunities show up. That's your confirmation that you're on the right path, that you're truly hearing God's voice, and not just your own disguised desires. And this power of discernment becomes especially crucial when you need to tell the difference between what is true success, and what is just a shiny illusion that can lead you far from your real purpose. Have you ever stopped to notice how many successful people seem deeply unhappy? Famous actors falling into depression, millionaire entrepreneurs getting divorced for the third time, influencers with millions of followers having anxiety attacks. This happens because our society has completely confused what it means to live a prosperous life. True success isn't about how much money you have in the bank or how many people know your name. It's about feeling that your life has meaning, that you're fulfilling your divine purpose here on earth. When you put God first, you stop chasing illusions and start building something solid, something that truly matters. The difference is like comparing a sandcastle to a cathedral. Both might look beautiful, but only one will stand the test of time. What strikes me most is how our culture promotes a version of success that is literally the opposite of what spiritual wisdom teaches. We're told to compete, accumulate, impress, dominate, but that produces the exact opposite of peace and fulfillment. True success begins from the inside out. It's like a tree: first it grows deep roots and a strong trunk, and only then do the fruits appear naturally. When you focus first on your inner transformation, when you cultivate a strong connection with God, when you align your values with eternal principles, external prosperity becomes a natural consequence, not a desperate obsession. It's the difference between forcing and allowing, between fighting the current and sailing with the wind. External wealth should be a reflection of internal abundance, not the other way around. Let me share something that completely changed my perspective. I once met a gardener who earned a humble wage but radiated a peace and joy that would make any corporate executive envious. He told me, "I wake up every day knowing I'm exactly where God wants me to be, doing exactly what He wants me to do." How many millionaires can say that? This doesn't mean God wants everyone to be poor, it means He wants everyone to be whole. Some people are called to lead big companies, others to care for gardens, others to teach children. Genuine success is discovering your specific calling, and living it with excellence and gratitude. And when you do that, even if you're sweeping streets, you'll experience a fulfillment no bank account can provide. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having money, gaining recognition, or achieving positions of leadership. The problem arises when those things become your God, when you sacrifice your integrity, your relationships, your physical and mental health just to get them. It's like selling your soul for shiny trinkets. I've seen people destroy entire families in the name of success, betray lifelong friends for a promotion, lie and manipulate to close a deal. They might get what they wanted, but at what cost? When you put God first, He leads you to true success, the kind that enriches every area of your life at once. It's possible to be financially prosperous and have healthy relationships and enjoy good health and feel inner peace. In fact, that is God's will for you. Here's a truth that might shock many: most of the popular success strategies out there are based on fear, scarcity, and competition, the exact opposite of divine principles. You have to work 80 hours a week, never trust anyone, crush the competition. That might create short-term results, but it also creates anxiety, stress, shallow relationships, and a constant feeling that you're never enough. When your spirituality is active, when your life is aligned with God, you operate from abundance, cooperation, and trust. You work with wisdom, not just effort. You attract the right people instead of fighting the wrong ones. You make decisions based on faith, not fear. And the result? A kind of success that feeds your soul, not just your bank account. What's most fascinating is that when you prioritize genuine success, the kind that honors God and serves others, material success usually follows as a natural consequence. It's as if the universe conspires in your favor. Opportunities appear, the right people cross your path, brilliant ideas arrive at just the right moment. It's not luck, it's divine alignment. You stop forcing doors open, and they begin to open on their own. But that requires a level of spiritual maturity that few develop, the ability to trust God's timing, to value the process as much as the outcome, to measure success not only by what you achieve, but by who you become along the way. And this new way of seeing success, it completely transforms how you relate to others and how you decide who's worthy of walking with you on your journey. Do you know one of the biggest differences between someone who puts God first and someone who doesn't? The quality of the relationships they attract and maintain. When your spirituality is active, when you seek God's guidance, you develop a kind of spiritual radar that helps you recognize who is truly aligned with your purpose and who is just disguised as a friend. It's like having a metal detector, but for genuine intentions. How many times have you gotten involved with people who seemed amazing at first, only to reveal their true colors later? That happens because you were using only your physical eyes instead of your spiritual vision. When your life is aligned with God, He gives you discernment to recognize who will elevate your journey, and who is only there to drain your energy and resources. What's interesting is that many people assume spirituality makes you naive, someone who just turns the other cheek to everyone. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Jesus was one of the wisest beings to ever walk the earth, and He knew exactly who to walk with, and when to walk away. Genuine faith doesn't make you a doormat, it gives you the courage to set healthy boundaries, to say no when necessary, to protect yourself from toxic relationships. When you trust in God, you no longer settle for crumbs of love or respect. You know your worth because you know who created you. And this reflects in all your relationships. At work, you stop tolerating partners who don't honor their word. In your personal life, you stop accepting friends who only show up when they need something. In love, you stop settling for relationships that rob you of your peace. Let's talk about something very practical. How can you tell if a relationship or partnership is aligned with your spiritual journey? First, notice how you feel after spending time with that person. Do you feel energized, inspired, and motivated to be your best self? Or do you feel drained, confused, with a lingering sense that something is off? Second, pay attention to the fruits of that relationship. God-blessed connections bring mutual growth, authentic prosperity, peace, and harmony. Misaligned relationships tend to bring drama, constant conflict, financial losses, and the feeling that you're always trying to fix things. Third, observe whether that person brings you closer to God, or further away. Healthy relationships inspire you to be more compassionate, more honest, more grateful. Toxic relationships make you question your values, compromise your integrity, or forget your spiritual priorities. One of the most painful things I've witnessed were business partnerships that started with great excitement and ended in courtrooms, destroying not only companies but friendships that had lasted decades. In most cases, the red flags were there from the beginning, but were ignored because the focus was only on profit potential. When you seek divine guidance before partnering with someone, you save yourself years of suffering and loss. God shows you not just the surface-level qualities, but the person's real character, their deeper motives, how they behave under pressure. It's like having access to their complete resume, including the references they'd never give. That kind of spiritual wisdom has spared me from countless headaches and led me to partnerships that became lasting blessings. And here's something few realize: when you improve the quality of your relationships, you automatically improve the quality of your decisions. That's because the people around you directly influence how you think, feel, and choose. If you're surrounded by greedy people, you'll tend to make decisions driven by greed. If you're surrounded by anxious people, you'll make choices based on fear. But when you align yourself with people who also put God first, people who live with purpose and integrity, your decisions become wiser, more balanced, more aligned with your well-being. It's like having a spiritual board of advisors guiding your every important choice. You no longer decide alone, you decide with the collective wisdom of people who truly care about your growth. The most beautiful transformation that happens when you apply spiritual discernment to relationships is this: you stop trying to fix or convert people who aren't ready to grow. You accept that every soul has its own timing and path with God. This frees you from forcing connections that don't flow, and creates space to attract people who are on your same spiritual frequency. It's like tuning into the right radio station. Once you find the correct frequency, the sound becomes clear and harmonious. When you maintain a high spiritual frequency, you attract relationships that are true blessings, people who inspire you to become your best self. And this gift of discernment, of knowing who to walk with and where to invest your time and energy, becomes the foundation for developing the most powerful habit of all: living with God truly at the center of everything. Imagine if I told you that there's one single habit that could completely transform your financial life, your relationships, your physical and mental health, your decision-making abilities, and even your luck. You'd probably think I'm exaggerating, right? But this habit truly exists, and it's simpler than you think: living with God at the center of everything. I'm not talking about spending your entire day praying or becoming a monk. I'm talking about starting each day asking, what does God want me to do today? Making every decision considering, does this bring me closer to or further from my divine purpose? And ending each day with gratitude for what you've lived. When this becomes your default mindset, when seeking divine alignment becomes second nature, you build an internal structure that is literally unshakable. It's like having a spiritual GPS running 24/7, always guiding you toward the best path. What makes this habit so powerful is that it acts as a filter for every other decision in your life. When God is at the center of your thoughts, you automatically pause before gossiping, before making a shady investment, before accepting a job that goes against your values. It's like having a personal advisor who knows your future and protects you from traps you can't even see yet. This divine filter shields you from the desperate rush that leads people into poor decisions, from the toxic comparison that breeds envy and resentment, from the greed that turns decent people into predators. When your faith is active, when you maintain a constant connection to the sacred, you develop a wisdom that goes far beyond your personal experience or formal education. Now let me be very specific about how to implement this in your daily life. Start your morning with 5 minutes of spiritual connection. This could be a prayer, a meditation, or simply a few moments of silence asking God how He wants you to live that day. Throughout the day, before important decisions, pause for a few seconds and seek divine guidance. It doesn't need to be dramatic or long. It can be a simple thought: Lord, help me choose what's best for everyone involved. At night, take a few minutes for gratitude, acknowledging the blessings of the day and asking forgiveness for the moments you lost your alignment. This may sound too simple to be effective, but it's precisely this simplicity that makes it sustainable. You're not trying to become perfect overnight, you're simply creating small moments of divine reconnection throughout the day. What impresses me most is how this habit naturally protects you from the illusions that destroy so many lives. When God is at the center of your goals, you stop chasing achievements that are just bandages for unhealed emotional wounds. How many people work obsessively to prove their self-worth? How many accumulate wealth to feel safe? How many seek fame just to feel loved? When you know you are unconditionally loved by God, when you understand that your worth doesn't depend on your achievements, you free yourself from these compulsions. Your goals become expressions of gratitude and a desire to serve, not desperate attempts to fill internal voids. It's the difference between working out of fear and working out of love. One drains your energy, the other fills you with more each day. Here's something that could shift your entire perspective. When you live with God at the center, you stop trying to control the outcomes and start focusing on the excellence of the process. This eliminates the anxiety that comes from forcing things to happen your way and in your time. You plant the right seeds, water them with care, remove the weeds, and trust that God will take care of the harvest. This kind of surrender isn't passivity, it's wisdom. It's acknowledging that there is an infinite intelligence orchestrating things in ways your limited mind could never plan. When you develop that kind of trust in God, you work with more ease, make decisions with more clarity, and face challenges with more peace. It's like dancing instead of fighting, flowing instead of forcing. The most amazing part of this habit is that it creates a domino effect across every area of your life. When your thoughts are aligned with God, your words become more truthful and powerful. When your words are filled with integrity, your actions become more effective. When your actions are guided by divine wisdom, your results multiply in ways that defy human logic. It's as if you gain access to an invisible multiplying force that amplifies everything you do. People notice a difference in your presence, opportunities begin to appear out of nowhere, and solutions arrive at just the right time. It's not magic, it's alignment. Alignment with the spiritual laws that govern the universe. And once you experience this, once you feel what it's like to live with that unshakable internal structure, you'll never want to go back to the chaos of a life without divine direction. But making this real in your life requires a decision that can no longer be postponed. So here we are at the end of this journey, but in truth, this is just the beginning of your true transformation. Everything I shared with you today is not abstract theory or pretty philosophy, it's practical wisdom, tested by thousands of people throughout history, that works regardless of your religion, your current financial situation, or your past mistakes. The real question is, what will you do with this information? Will you file it away as just another interesting video you watched? Or will you have the courage to actually implement this in your real life? Let's be honest, you didn't come this far by accident. Something inside you is crying out for change, for direction, for a life that truly makes sense. Maybe you're tired of working so hard and still feeling like you're running in circles. Maybe your relationships aren't bringing the joy you hoped for. Maybe you've already achieved things you thought would make you happy, yet you still feel that deep emptiness no purchase, no promotion, no accomplishment can fill. That restlessness isn't random, it's God calling you to something greater. To a life truly aligned with your divine purpose. Now, I want you to pause and reflect honestly. In what area of your life do you most need divine guidance? Is it your relationships? Your finances? Your career? Your health? Whatever it is, I challenge you to try this simple experiment for the next 30 days. Start each morning with 5 minutes of connection with God, asking for guidance specifically in that area. Before any important decision related to it, pause for just a few seconds and seek divine direction. And at the end of each day, express gratitude for the blessings you received. It's simple, but I promise you, in 30 days, you'll start to see changes that will astonish you. But here's the real question I want you to answer. Are you willing to trade the illusion of control you think you have, for a real partnership with the Creator of the universe? Are you ready to discover what it truly means to live with divine purpose? Or will you keep trying to figure it all out on your own? Because this choice, the one in front of you right now, won't just shape your future. It will define your legacy. And if this message touched your heart, if something deep within you is saying, "This is what I've been looking for," then you need to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because this is only the beginning. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to show you specific techniques to develop your spiritual intuition, how to recognize and follow the signs God sends you daily, and the secrets that truly prosperous people use to keep God at the center of every decision they make. Don't miss this chance to finally build the extraordinary life God designed for you, since the very beginning.